Have you ever noticed how the moment you finally stop caring, she suddenly wants you back? It's like clockwork. She pulled away. Maybe she said she needed space or that it was over. So you backed off, focused on yourself, and out of nowhere, boom, she's back in your messages, liking your posts, asking how you've been. Why does that happen? Because there's something powerful about a man who doesn't chase. A man who respects himself enough to walk away, stay silent, and let her feel the absence. It's not a game. It's human psychology. When you stop giving her your energy, she starts wondering where it went. When you detach emotionally, she begins to question her decision. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why women often come back after leaving you. We're not talking manipulation, we're talking mindset, self-respect, emotional control, and the silent power that speaks louder than words. So if you've ever been ghosted, dumped, or replaced, pay close attention. Because when you understand this, you stop chasing and start leading. Let's get into it. 1. You stop chasing her. And that changed everything. When a woman pulls away or ends things, most guys panic. They text more, call more, beg for answers. But when you don't do that, when you stop chasing, it flips the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the guy trying to convince her to stay. You're the guy who respects himself enough to walk away without a scene. That kind of behavior stands out. You have to understand something. Women are used to being pursued. They're used to guys trying to win them back. But when you go silent and focus on yourself, it disrupts her expectations. It makes her wonder, why isn't he chasing me? Did I lose him for good? That uncertainty creates curiosity, and curiosity leads to attraction. By removing your attention, you're removing her emotional supply. That space gives her time to reflect, compare, and question her decision. Maybe she thought you'd be devastated, yet here you are, leveling up without her. That's when the tables turn. Remember, detachment isn't indifference. It's emotional discipline. You're not playing games, you're just not volunteering your value to someone who didn't appreciate it. That shift in energy is what pulls her back, because now you're not the one trying to prove your worth. She is. 2. She starts to feel your absence, and it hits harder than she expected. At first, she might have felt confident walking away. Maybe she thought she had options. Maybe she thought you'd still be waiting around if she ever changed her mind. But then, nothing. Silence. No chasing. No, I miss you texts. And that's when it really starts to hit her. Women expect you to react emotionally, to show signs of weakness. But when you give her space and stay centered, she doesn't feel relief. She feels your absence. That emotional gap becomes louder with time. She starts comparing how she felt with you to how she feels without you, and most of the time the silence is deafening. Here's the thing. Presence creates familiarity. But absence? That creates value. When you were always available, she might have taken you for granted. But now that you're gone, she's forced to confront what she lost. That space is where regret starts to grow. She may not admit it right away. It might show up as random messages or likes on your social media. Maybe she checks in just to see how you're doing. But those are signs that she's starting to feel your absence. And it's not sitting well. The strongest position you can hold is to give her the gift of missing you. Because when someone loses access to your energy, they start to realize just how much it meant. 3. Emotional control is rare and extremely attractive. In a world where everyone is quick to react, emotional control is a superpower. Most guys lose it when a woman leaves. They spiral, they beg. They send paragraphs of emotional text hoping she'll come back. But when you stay calm, composed, and detached, you become different. You stand out. Women are emotional creatures. That's not a bad thing. It's just how they're wired. So when a man can remain grounded while she's all over the place emotionally, it creates polarity. It makes her feel safe and curious. Your calmness becomes something she subconsciously craves. When you don't react out of desperation, you send a powerful message. I don't need you to validate me. That flips the script. Now she's the one wondering why you're not affected. It causes her to question her decision and reevaluate your worth. Because only a man with options, discipline, or deep self-respect can maintain that kind of self-control. Your silence is not weakness, your stillness is not coldness, it's restraint, it's choosing not to lower your value by reacting emotionally to someone who walked away. And that restraint, that quiet confidence, that's magnetic. So while she expects you to crumble, you evolve. And as she watches from a distance, your emotional discipline becomes more attractive than any words you could have said. 4. She gets hit by the reality of what she gave up. At some point, she'll come face to face with the consequences of her decision. In the heat of the moment, leaving might have felt like power. But time has a funny way of revealing the truth. And when the emotional dust settles, she starts to see you in a new light. Maybe you were the guy who treated her right. Maybe you listened, cared, showed loyalty and consistency. But she didn't value that in the moment. Maybe she thought the grass was greener. Maybe she wanted attention, drama, or excitement. But now, when she's alone or dealing with the reality of modern dating, she realizes that guys like you aren't easy to find. That's when the regret creeps in. Not because you said something, not because you tried to win her back, but because you didn't. Because you disappeared, because you're not waiting around and you're not chasing. That silence forces her to see your value through contrast, by comparing you to everything that came after. And trust me, most guys she'll meet won't offer the same level of patience, respect, or stability. Once she starts to see what's really out there, your worth begins to rise in her eyes. You didn't have to convince her. Life did it for you. By walking away with dignity and upgrading your life, you become the one that got away. And that's a powerful position to hold. 5. Your growth without her is the loudest message. Nothing says, "I've moved on," louder than becoming better without her. When she left, maybe she thought you'd fall apart. Maybe she assumed you'd be stuck, replaying old conversations, wondering where it went wrong. But instead, you leveled up. That stings more than any words you could say. Growth is the ultimate revenge, not out of spite, but out of self-love. When you start hitting the gym, focusing on your goals, upgrading your mindset, and building a life you're proud of, she sees it. Even if she doesn't say anything, even if she's just watching from the shadows. Trust me, she notices. Because women are deeply intuitive. They can sense when your energy shifts. When your focus moves from her to yourself, that's when you become attractive all over again. You're no longer the same man she left. You've evolved. And here's the kicker. Most people don't change. They stay stuck in cycles. So when she sees you breaking free of yours, that sends a loud message. You're not chasing, you're not begging, you're becoming. And that's what pulls her back in, not just curiosity, but respect. She starts to wonder, what if he's truly done with me? What if someone else is benefiting from the man I didn't appreciate? That fear, that realization is often what makes her reach out. Growth doesn't just heal you, it haunts her. 6. She underestimated your strength, and now she sees it. When she left, she probably expected you to crumble. Maybe she thought she held the power in the relationship. Maybe she believed you couldn't live without her. But as time passes and she sees that you didn't just survive, you thrived, she's forced to reevaluate everything she believed about you. Most guys fold when their emotions are tested. They break down. But not you. You stood tall. You didn't react emotionally. You didn't try to fix her decision. You accepted it. That takes strength, real strength. And strength, especially in moments of rejection, is rare. When a man remains unshaken, that shakes her. It disrupts her perception. You're not just another emotional guy trying to convince her to come back. You're a man who can handle life, rejection, and pain without losing your core. That kind of resilience is deeply attractive, even if she can't fully articulate it. She starts to realize that you weren't weak for caring. You were strong for walking away when it wasn't reciprocated. That's masculine energy. That's self-respect. And that's what makes her rethink everything. She thought she was walking away from someone who needed her, but now she sees she walked away from someone who chose her and could just as easily choose not to. That realization, that's what makes her come back. 7. The illusion of better options fades. In the beginning, when she leaves, she might believe there's something better out there. Maybe she wants attention from other men, maybe she's chasing excitement or the illusion of freedom. And in today's world, with constant validation at her fingertips, she might think she has unlimited options. But here's the truth. Most of those options don't offer depth. They offer dopamine, quick highs, surface level connections, and eventually the thrill wears off. Conversations get dry. The effort isn't consistent. The attention feels hollow. That's when the contrast between you and the rest of the world starts to show. You weren't perfect, but you were consistent, you cared, you showed up, and as she engages with other guys who can't match that, the illusion starts to crumble. She realizes that emotional maturity, respect, and real connection are rare. That's when she starts to look back. Not because you reminded her, because the world did. It reflected back to her just how uncommon your presence really was. And if you've been focusing on yourself and improving, then by the time she looks back, you've become even more rare. So while she was out exploring what else is out there, you were becoming the very thing no one else can replace. That's not luck, that's self-mastery, and that's why she'll try to come back. Because the options she thought were better turned out to be illusions. 8. You let go, and that made her want to hold on. Here's the paradox. When you cling, people pull away, but when you let go, they lean in. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. True detachment is powerful because it communicates one essential truth. You are enough without her. When you stop trying to hold on to someone who wants to leave, you regain control over your life. And that inner peace, that confidence, it radiates. It shifts the entire dynamic. Suddenly, you're not desperate. You're not trying to force connection. You're letting life flow, trusting that what's meant for you will return, and what's not will make space for something better. She feels that. Whether she's consciously aware of it or not, your emotional freedom sends a clear signal. I've released you. I've accepted your decision. I'm moving forward. And ironically, that's what often pulls her back. Because when you no longer need her, she starts to want you. She feels the loss more deeply because she knows you're no longer holding the door open. You're not waiting in the shadows. You've moved on with grace. Letting go is not weakness, it's strength. It says, I don't chase what doesn't choose me. And that shift in energy, that's what makes her want to come back. Not because you forced it, but because you let her go first. So here's the truth, brother. She didn't come back because of a text you sent. She didn't come back because of some magic line or trick. She came back because you became the man she never thought you could become without her. You stopped chasing. You started healing. You walked in silence. And while she was looking for something better, you became better. This isn't about games. This is about power. Not over her, but over yourself. Emotional control, self-respect, discipline. These aren't just attractive traits. They're rare. And that's why she always comes back. Not to the man who begged, but to the man who let her go. Now the real question is, when she does come back, will you still want her? Because sometimes the biggest plot twist is realizing that the woman who left isn't aligned with the man you've become. So keep growing, stay focused, and remember, when you stop chasing, you give yourself a chance to lead. See you in the next one.